Here with Best of Us in Retirement. As it said in the title of this video, I made two mistakes in my life, made two decisions in my life that cost me $67 million. And what I'm willing to bet is you made the same mistakes or something similar. It may not have cost you as much, but that's what exactly it cost me. And why do I want to share that with you? Why do I want to bare my soul and say, I was a dummy. I did something desperately wrong. Well, it may be too late for you and I to correct and not make the same mistake over. But if you'll watch this video to the end and see exactly what I did wrong and what maybe you did wrong, and maybe you can take this and share it with your children or your grandchildren, and ask them to watch the video at least once a month so that they don't make a $67 million mistake like I did. It's simple, and I'll walk you through it. And it's based upon two premises. One, that we basically buy things that we don't need and justify them because they make us happy for the moment, for the instant gratification. And then the other element of it is we buy things to show off, to show our friends and our family and our work associates that we've made it, we've done well, and just look at me, I'm successful. Well, those two mindsets are what caused me to make two drastic mistakes. And I want to go over them with you. The first one occurred in 1988. I was doing well. I was making good money. I was making over $100,000 a year. We were living on Westbury Road. We lived in a nice ranch-style house on a big lot and tuck under garage and whatever. But I was making good money and I wanted to show the world. So Nita and I decided we were going to build a house in the same community, but in a new community. We were going to build a new house. So we took our mortgage payment from $1,500 a month to $3,500 a month. I increased my mortgage payment by $2,000 a month, and I paid that for 30 years and owned the house mortgage free. Here's the house we bought. But let me share with you the financial consequences of that decision. In this chart, I want to show you if I had taken that same $2,000 that I increased my mortgage payment by and invested it in the NASDAQ market. Well, now, why would I have invested it in the NASDAQ market? Well, the news every night was telling me about these new technological companies that were using the internet to find new paths for industry and improving our way of life. And I knew that. I had a computer. I used Google every day. I knew that. Well, what if, rather than investing in that new house that we built and paying $350,000, $325,000 for it, I had dollar cost averaged every month $2,000 into just the NASDAQ market, the technological market? What would have happened? Look at this graph in our chart and I'll show you exactly what would have happened. What I did was, I'm showing you there that I said, okay, $24,000 a year was dollar cost average into the NASDAQ market. I then went and searched and said, what did the NASDAQ return, its ROI, return on investment, each year from 1998 through 2021? And you can see I charted it, I put it in there, and then I carried the earnings over and added it to the balance, and then did the same thing over and over. And as you can see, in some years I lost some money. In 1990, it went down 10%. I lost $9,000. Then what do you think happened to me in 2000 when I had my money was up, my dollar cost averaging was up to $3,273,000. And then the next year I lost $1 million, followed by losing almost 700,000, followed by losing almost 550, and my $3 million had shrunk to $900,000. But again, I was on autopilot. It just kept putting it in. And as you can see, it then climbed. It took another $800,000 hit in 2008 with the subprime prices, but I kept dollar cost averaging. Today, I'd have $18 million. It's math. It's there. And that's number one mistake that I made. I just wanted to show the world I had a better house than you. That's what I did. But I said to you, I made another mistake, a second mistake. And that mistake is right here. This is the Porsche that I bought my wife, Nita, in 2004. I went into the Porsche dealership and I gave him a check for $105,000, and Nita drove home in her Porsche. See, she still owns it. She's enjoyed it. I don't enjoy driving it that much, because, particularly around the city. And on the highways, it's like driving a go-kart. So you bounce around. So I don't get much pleasure out of it, but she does. She really enjoys her Porsche. But what if on, I believe it was in April of 2004, rather than give that Porsche dealer a check for $105,000, she just continued to drive her old beat-up Mercedes that she had. And I took that money and I invested it all, money down, on Apple stock. Well, now I'm going to show you the return annually on Apple stock. And as you can see, it grew handsomely. It showed 1 year, again, what was that, 2008, bad year, subprime crisis. I lost 50% of my investment, but I just kept it in. It was on autopilot. Just leave it there. That would have grown to $49 million. Yeah. That one investment, that one mistake I made, cost me $49 million. Now I add that to the $18 million that I would have made if I had not bought the new house, built the new house. There's where I come up with $67,637,864 that I don't have. I don't have because of two mistakes I made. Two decisions that were basically made for two reasons. One, to buy something I didn't need. I didn't need that Porsche. A Toyota Corolla would have done just as well, okay? Or the Mercedes she was driving would have been just as fine. It probably would still be on the road. But no, I bought a Porsche. And what if, though, I wasn't as lucky and I bought that new e-commerce business that called Amazon that I was using, you were using, they weren't making any money. They didn't really make a lot of money until cloud computing and Amazon Web Services kicked in. What would that have turned into? That would have turned into about $6.8 million. See it there on the chart? So now I would have added that to my $18.2 million, and now made it with my Amazon and my original house, I'd have $25 million in my account. Two decisions. I would ask you, and is that the only two mistakes I make? No. We have art around the house, a Frank Fleming, a bronze statue of a frog. We have a Hepplewhite 1785 dining room table. I drive a BMW. So I've made multiple mistakes, but I'm only going to share with you the cost of the two. the house, and the Porsche. I would ask you, have you made similar mistakes? Have you made bad decisions? Have you not educated yourself on what you could invest in that is going to change the world? A mistake that most of us baby boomers made was we graduated from school believing it was up to us to make ourselves wealthy, that we had to use our own knowledge, our own experience to make ourselves wealthy. That's a mistake. I can invest in people who are smarter than me. I can invest in Steve Jobs. I can invest in Bill Gates. I can invest in Jeff Bezos. I can invest in these people who are smarter than me. And yeah, I won't become a billionaire, but I will become $67 million richer. And I want you to share that with your grandchildren and your children. They can do it by merely, and how do you do it? How would I have recognized that Steve Jobs was going to, if I would have invested in him, I would have accumulated $49 million. How would I have recognized that? All I had to do was watch the evening news and see what they're talking about every night on the first story. And back then, it was a lot of talk about the World Wide Web, about the digital revolution, about the iPhone. All I had to do was pay attention and say, this guy's smarter than me. He is going to explode it. Remember that Super Bowl commercial where a lady runs down an aisle where people are watching a movie and she throws the sledgehammer into the screen and it explodes? That should have been my cue. Invest in Apple. And so I would ask you, what are they talking about today on the news? Every night we watch Lester Holt. He leads with the coronavirus, the Delta variant, the new variant. How many people have died? The death toll is now that it's the second biggest killer in the United States behind heart disease and cancer. That's what they lead with every night. Well, that's what I need to invest in. What is that, Carrie? That's the medical cure business. We are going to have a revolution in healthcare. It's all wrapped around genome therapy, genome sequencing, protein sequencing, protein editing. You can go to my other channel, Best of Us Investors. Go to the Patreon. Doesn't cost anything. You can see my portfolio. You can see what I'm investing in. Why do I invest in these? It's the #1 story on the news every night. So it is indicating to me this is the change that has to happen. This can never happen again. It has to happen. And if I will invest in it, I'll have an opportunity to make another $67 million if I just live long enough, okay? So if you have a 25-year-old or a 50-year-old, show them this video, share it with them. Say, take the time and listen to this, and then don't make the 2 stupid decisions in your life to buy things that you don't need and to show off to your friends and your business acquaintances. Just live within your means and invest in people that are smarter than you. Okay, if you would like a copy of this chart that you can share with them, go into the description and find our Discord and the link to the Discord, and I'll have Kevin put that up as Carrie's 2 biggest mistakes. You'll find it there. All right, talk to you again soon.